wanted to tell you guys one of my favorite fables. It's one of Aesop's fables. It's called The House Dog and the Wolf. So basically there's this wolf roaming around the forest late at night. He runs into this well-fed, plump house dog. And they exchange compliments, and the wolf says, "Hey, cousin dog, you look real healthy and well-fed. How do you do it? I'm starving all the time." And the house dog says, "Well, you lead too irregular a life. If you worked as hard as I do, you could look this good." So the wolf says, "Well, I'm no stranger to work. I'm fine with working." And the house dog says, "Well, come with me. I got a master. He feeds me right off his plate." And the wolf starts following him through the forest. And as they're walking, the wolf notices some wounds on the side of the house dog's neck. And he says, "Hey, dog, how'd you get them sores on the side of your neck?" And the dog says, "These probably from my collar and chain." The wolf stops following him and says, "Whoa, man. Chain? You mean you're not free to just go around wherever you please?" And the dog says, "Well, kind of. I can at night, but during the day I'm chained up all the time." And the wolf starts backing up, and the dog says, "Hey, where you going?" And the wolf says, "Oh, man, no thank you. You can keep your chains. As for me, I prefer my freedom to your fat." And that's kind of an aggressive, dramatic, tropesy way of just saying, what I believe, which is I just like living this way. And a lot of people, they'll ask me, like, "Oh, why do you live that way? What made you want to live that way?" And to me, it's because I just never really saw myself living any other way. Like, I ask the same thing about a lot of people, like, "Why do you live that way?" But at the same time, I know why they do. We're bred, born, and raised to live the way that we think we're supposed to live. I think it's important to not take a position of moral superiority over people because you choose to live a way that you do. And it goes both ways. Like, for people who want to live, I know a lot of people out there want to live like I do, and I know a lot of people have already, and that's awesome. But I think it's important to not take that position of "I'm better than you because I live this way." You're just reflecting the same kind of shittiness back at them. And whether or not they judge you, because you're gonna you're gonna get judged hard for this. You're gonna get called a bum and a loser and all those things. But it's important to understand that, it's good that people can think that way. That freedom to disagree and that freedom to say, "I don't like the way you live, I prefer living my way," that goes for both of us. Because I'm not out here saying, "Oh, you gotta live this way, you gotta play in the woods, this is the way to live." You'll see a lot of people out there touch grass, wagey, all that shit. I'm not really into all that because you catch more flies with honey. People aren't going to hear that and want to even consider the way you live. But also, disagreement is good, because I forget what book it was. I swear it was Essays in Idleness, but I've looked for the quote again and I haven't been able to find it. So maybe it's another quote. Maybe I dreamed it, and this is me paraphrasing it poorly. But the writer basically said, if two people meet and they're both the exact same, then they both might as well be alone. How boring would the world be if we all believed the same things, thought the same things, wore the same clothes, said the same things? I would lose my mind. The world would be a very boring place if that was the case. Thankfully, it's not. But the sacrifice we make for that is people aren't going to like you. People aren't going to all agree with the way you live. If you're ever lacking some confidence and you just need that oomph to keep you going, there's this one really good Ed Abbey quote that I remember by heart because it's one of my favorites. But he says, he's feeling down and low. He's missing his girl, and he says, "Cocky as a rooster, I told myself, you are an artist, an adventurer, a human man, not some shoe clerk, knee-jerk liberal or knee-pad Tory, insurance adjuster or group encounter therapist or assistant professor of data processing at your local vocational tech. No androgyne with retracted balls and a frightened pizzle. So I told myself, and so I believe right now, and so it has to be. Arise, piss, pull on pants and boots, build a fire. Now, that's from his essay, A Walk in the Desert Hills, which is you can find in the book Beyond the Wall. And you don't have to remember all that, but I think there's 10 words that kind of sum up the gist of it that you can remember. Rise, piss, pull on pants and boots, build a fire. I have a P.O. box now, so you guys can write me letters and things like that. I know a lot of people have been saying, hey, get a P.O. box, get a P.O. box. Well, I finally did it. It cost an arm and a leg, and it took a lot of work. If you want to write me, go ahead. And if you include like a self-addressed return envelope with a stamp, I'll write something back. Hopefully I'll finish my book this month. I'm just doing the second draft now. But take care, my dudes.